Times were tough, so I sold my soul. And I don't think I'll ever regain control. Devil looked me in the eye, now I look the other way. What else could I do? I just stood at the doorway, knew I'd rather be drunk with you. I'd rather be drunk.
Hey Internet, Dracofunk here, and this is Episode 2 of Season 2 of the Reusable Space Program, and with me today is ShaggyB.
That's right, I'm here and ready to eject into space.
So anyway, I don't remember if I told you, I'm sure I did, that Season 2 is going to be about going to Duna.
Alright. Sounds good to me.
So I built this craft, and you see the 4 relay probes on the back of it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fly this whole thing to Duna, and I already had the maneuver nodes set up, and it's going. The last episode is, me getting all this stuff into orbit around Kerbin and attached, and it's fine. Right now, I'm just doing the burn. This has a lot of Delta V.
That's good.
And it is unmanned, and to be more prototypical, I should be sending the relay satellites like one at a time, and I think they even almost have enough Delta V on their own, but that wouldn't be in the spirit of the Reusable Space Program.
Exactly right. We do as much as possible with everything.
So, yeah, I already have everything set up. I have the burn set up, and it turns out I ended up having an issue, and this is an issue, a game issue. Normally, if I have an issue and it's my fault, I'm just going to let it go but there's a game issue happening, and it's going to cause me to reload. And I actually had to do it 3 times because of the issue. And you see me, I'm burning, and I'm getting the Duna encounter, and I'm almost there. Surprisingly, Duna, you can get the Duna with only like 100 more Delta V than Minmus.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of the ships I have that can get to Minmus can also get the Duna. Now, getting a capture takes a little bit more. But anyway, I have a Duna encounter.
Perfect.
And everything is fine right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to set the alarm clock, because what I want to do is get out of Kerbin's sphere of influence, and then I'm going to just try and get my periapsis around Duna down to about 400 kilometers.
Sounds reasonable.
So here, just a few seconds, I'm going to time warp to the... Okay, now I'm out of Kerbin's sphere. Kerbin's sphere of influence, and I'm just going to click on that and just lower my periapsis. Now, the issue I was having was I got my periapsis where I wanted it to.
Sure.
And then I used the Kerbal alarm clock, the built-in one.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this used to have to be a mod.
Yeah, I remember.
And what would happen, and I'll demonstrate this to show what was happening, is I have it set to my sphere of influence change.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when I reach Duna's sphere of influence, it'll stop time warping me. Now I'm going to stop it here. I'm 23 days out.
Mm-hmm.
So 19 days out now. And this is now real time, because I had been... What happened the first time is I had it set like that, and the alarm clock stopped. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to enter the sphere of influence, and I'll have to create another one at periapsis, because that's where I wanted to do my burn.
Sure.
But as soon as the warp stopped, I was like 30 seconds from leaving.
Oh, shit.
So watch right now. So I'm time warping, and watch the time on the alarm clock. 7 days, right?
7 days.
Yeah, so I'm going to time warp just 2 times. So I'm not going to get there. I'm just checking everything right now to figure out what the heck's going on. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a manual
Oh, okay. With
alarm clock
with the time.
Yeah, so I don't screw this up.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm going to create one to go off just before. Okay, so now I have that, just in case like I mess up. But watch the actual sphere of influence time when I hit the time warp button.
Okay.
1 year, 207 days.
So it wants you to go around again, I guess?
I don't really know what's happening. It's just, if you leave it in that original thing, for some reason, the built-in alarm clock is changing and causing you to miss your encounter. And that's what happened to me. And the second time, like the first time, I had no idea what happened. It's just suddenly I'm flying out of Duna. I'm like, oh, I must have screwed up somewhere. The second time, I was watching closely, and I was time warping, and I saw myself, past Duna real fast. So I stopped it, and I was like, I was still within Duna's sphere of influence, but I was so far out that it would have taken like 1,000 Delta V to get back to where.
Oh.
But anyway, so I created a manual, what's it called? A manual alarm clock. Mm-hmm. And I'm only 2 minutes now because the regular one stops you a minute before you get there. So I'm just going to delete it. But if you're having that problem, do a manual alarm that's like a minute before the regular one, just because that's what was happening to me, and I don't know why.
Yeah, that's a weird glitch to have happen. Like, I don't know.
And again, normally if this was something, if I had made the mistake,
sure,
I would have kept it in and had it been part of the story. But since this was a gaming glitch, I just went back and reloaded. I've had a couple Kraken things happen. I guess technically the mining ship exploding could have been described as a Kraken thing, but I don't really know, so I did keep that one in. Mm-hmm. But anyway, now I have a Duna encounter, and I'll go back to time warping, so you don't have to watch me spend a lot of time.
It's like it's like this game has the equivalent of like free radicals, flipping bits in their hard drive or something, which I guess would be kind of realistic for space. But yeah.
Now,
anyway,
here I did make a mistake. I'm going to be coming in on the wrong side of Duna. That means my orbit will be going the wrong way, so I have to fix that. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to really cost. It's only going to cost me like 36 Delta V.
That's good.
And in reality, I have plenty of Delta V.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got more than half.
Yeah, I'm already basically at Duna. Now I'm going to set an alarm for my periapsis, and my goal is to get around a 400. Well, I'm going to keep my periapsis at 400 kilometers, but I'm going to put my apoapsis at 2,000 because what I want to do is put the relay satellites in orbit.
Okay.
And for the people who know, yes, I made a mistake with this initial thought. And as I said, if it's my mistake, I'm just going to let it happen and go with it.
Sure.
Which is what I end up doing. So the idea of putting up the relay satellites, and see, I put one up, and
it went to
it's now in orbit of Ike, and it's going to crash into Ike.
So it's not really orbit. That's just a collision course.
Yeah. So 2,000 kilometers isn't going to work.
No.
So right now, I'm just looking at this, thinking. So like the Duna Relay 1. Mm-hmm. Well, it's no longer in orbit of Duna, and it's about to crash into Ike. So I'm still looking at this, thinking, well, what can I do? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch to it and put it in orbit of Ike.
Yeah. Until you figure out a plan.
Well, I'm not. The plan is it's gonna be my Ike Relay satellite.
Yeah. Perfect.
So I'm trying to get my periapsis to about a 200 kilometer
200
orbit.
Is probably reasonable, yeah.
And I'm just, whatever orbit I have of it, that's just going to be what it is for now. Mm-hmm. Because I am going to eventually, I can't talk. I am eventually going to put a mining base and space station in orbit of Ike. Mm-hmm. because the goal of this season is to develop the Duna system, much like I've done with the Kerbin system.
Okay, perfect.
So here, I decided to go a little bit higher, 235, and there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Because a lot of times when you're doing rendezvous in orbit, you go to 200 kilometers, and I just decided that it's probably don't want a
little bit Kessler syndrome going on, yeah.
Yeah. So now this is Ike Relay satellite number 1.
Yeah. It's a happy accident.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go back to the probe, and I'm going to set an alarm clock for the periapsis, and I'm going to lower my apoapsis now, because I think I'm going to try 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah, it's probably a better plan.
So I still have 3 satellites, and generally I put 3 in orbit and then usually 1 in a polar orbit to keep coverage, but I think 3 in orbit will be fine for now.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
And I can always bring some up at another time.
Well, you could do something like, I don't know, 120 degrees offset. Maybe that would cover it. I don't know, actually.
Well,
I didn't.
Well, the Ike satellite is actually offset a little bit, and actually will do probably most of the time. I'm going to have coverage. Like, it would be a rare moment when all the satellites are somehow obscured.
Right.
So satellites dropped. I just have to raise its periapsis, and now this will be Duna Relay 1. And now all I need to do is go around again. And like, that's even a good spacing.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to get them perfect, and I can always readjust.
You can always
them.
adjust it, yeah.
Yeah, I really need to readjust the ones around Kerbin. Like, 2 of them have gotten very close. All right. So I just undock it, start the engines, and raise its periapsis. And, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's Relay Satellite 2, and just Relay 1 2. More. And
that's just about evenly spaced, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this.
Yeah.
And, the orbits aren't quite perfect, but
that's fine.
And I know I'm going to have to adjust them eventually. Yeah. And I really should be looking more at the orbital periods, but I didn't. So they're about, a good 1,000-kilometer orbit. And the only thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to take what I'm calling the interplanetary probe that I used to get them there.
Right.
And I'm going to put it in a 400-kilometer parking orbit, because I'm going to have to wait till I get an encounter at Kerbin. Now, the thing on the back of it is the same satellite launching system that I use to put up the satellites in orbit of the Mun and Minmus.
Okay.
And I've actually flown it. It's flown up 3 times, and it's landed twice. And I will fly it back to Kerbin, and it has parachutes on it, and I will detach it and land it so it can be used yet again.
Well, there we go.
It's the reusable part.
It's reusable.
So, yeah.
The reuse is happening.
Join us next time as I send actual Kerbins to Duna. Thanks, guys.
Perfect.
See you later.
Awesome. Good night, everybody.